Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee's online worship service. I'm the Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom, and I'm honored to serve as First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee's senior minister. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you're bringing with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We'd like to pay a special welcome to guests who are joining us today. If you're visiting for the first time or joining us from afar, why don't you say hello in the chat right now and tell us where you're joining from. I welcome everyone into our worship service by inviting you to repeat our First Church mission after me. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. Our opening words this morning are the poem Accepting This by Mark Nepo. Yes, it is true. I confess I have thought great thoughts and sung great songs, all of it rehearsal for the majesty of being held. The dream is awakened when thinking, I love you, and life begins when saying, I love you. And joy moves like blood when embracing others with love. My efforts now turn from trying to outrun suffering to accepting love wherever I can find it. Stripped of causes and plans and things to strive for, I've discovered everything I could need or ask for is right here in flawed abundance. We cannot eliminate hunger, but we can feed each other. We cannot eliminate loneliness, but we can hold each other. We cannot eliminate pain, but we can live a life of compassion. Ultimately, we are small living things awakened in the stream, not gods who carve out rivers. Like human fish, we are asked to experience meaning in the life that moves through the gill of our heart. There is nothing to do and nowhere to go. Accepting this, we can do everything and go everywhere. Let's go now to our beloved sanctuary to light the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Dina McFeeters, and I'm honored to serve as Associate Minister. Have you ever lost someone you loved, or had an accident, or needed surgery? If there was someone to listen to you when those things happened, I wonder if you might feel better. In our church, we call this kind of helping pastoral care. Our pastoral care associates are church members who offer a confidential, listening presence to other members going through difficult life experiences, like chronic illness, parenting challenges, divorce, or the death of a loved one, to name a few. If you are a church member who would like to receive pastoral care, please use the link in the chat to request help from our Pastoral Care Associate Coordinator, Jerry Piercy. Have you ever been sick and wished someone would bring you a meal? We have church members who volunteer to bring homemade meals. They're called pastoral care providers. If you could use this kind of practical help, please use the next link in the chat to contact our provider coordinator, Jane Dorweiler. Today, we'd like to thank all of our pastoral care helpers and leaders, from the Ministry of Doing, making and delivering shawls, home grief kits, and meals, to the Ministry of being present as a listener. We give a special thanks to our retiring pastoral care associates for offering their quiet, listening presence over the last 3 years. Fully half of their term, they served during an unprecedented pandemic, going above and beyond the call of duty. PCAs, thank you for your time, your commitment, and your faithful ministry of presence to our congregation. Andrew Alden, Julie Hamrick, Bob Kohlmeyer, Donna Moberg, Susan Nolte, Jerry Piercy, Sarah Richards, Dale Skaggs, and Jen Vargas. I would like to introduce our new pastoral care associate team, who recently completed an extensive training and will begin serving this week.
My name is Lynn Conley, and I'm drawn to serve as a pastoral care associate because I believe we all need love and support in the joyful and difficult times of our lives. I will bring my nursing, caregiver, and hospice experience to this spiritual role at First Church.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Conta, and I'm drawn to serve as a PCA because our life on this earth is a complicated journey during which we experience a range of events. Some are joyous, and others cause us to feel anger, sadness, and grief. I'm honored to share part of that journey with you as a pastoral care associate.
Hello, I am Jean Groshek, and I feel drawn to serve as a PCA because I have received so much from being a part of First Church community, and it is an honor to give back. I bring to this experience years of teaching, communication, and mindfulness awareness, and I look forward to the opportunity to further expand my skills and learn how to more mindfully communicate with loving speech and compassionate listening.
Hi, my name is Sue Austin, and I am drawn to serve as a PCA so that I can help our UU members navigate their emotional highs and lows and restore peace and balance to their lives. I have also received a lot of support from our community in the past and want to give back.
Hello, I am Bob Austin. I am humbled and honored to be asked to serve as a PCA. I look forward to serving First Church community in this role. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kitty Wilkham, and I really like to serve as a PCA because I believe that while life brings certainly joy, it also brings challenges. And I think all of us need support, or sometimes just someone who will really, really listen. As a PCA, I hope I can help.
My name is Jeff Hansen. I want to serve as a PCA because I have learned that showing up for someone in need means everything to them. At times, this was done for me by others.
My name is Joan Hansen, and I feel called to serve as a PCA because I know that this life can be hard. And sometimes we all need someone to just listen to our worries and our concerns. I want to be of service to others by listening deeply and confidentially.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melinda Vernon, and I am eager to be a pastoral care associate because I love this congregation. And I would like to be there, to be present, and to be a listener for members who may be going through a challenging interval in their lives.
Now it is time to commission our new pastoral care associates. To commission means to appoint, to authorize, to entrust someone to an important task. Pastoral care associates, your task is not to fix the problems of other people, but to sit with them as they process the challenges that face them. Your task is not to give advice or tell someone what to do, but to listen with warmth and compassion as they find their own way. Your role is not to offer counseling, but to simply be present with an open heart and an open mind. Because of the deeply personal nature of this ministry, we ask that you hold yourselves accountable to the highest standards of integrity. In your words and your actions, you represent the ideals of this church. It is important that you listen in a way that is worthy of trust. It is important that you speak in a way that is respectful. And it is important that you keep appropriate boundaries, confidentiality, and that you tend to your own spiritual and emotional health. Do you now take up your responsibilities as pastoral care associates in this spirit and with these understandings? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
I
do.
I do. I do.
Will the members and friends of First Church promise to respect both the role and the people who serve as PCAs, to honor their time and commitment, and to support them as they take up this important ministry? If so, please type in the chat, we do. Welcome. Welcome to our new team of pastoral care associates. And First Church, please continue to take care of each other. It takes a whole community to care for a whole community.
Thank you so much to all of our pastoral care associates, those who just serve and those who are taking on the mantle of service now, as well as our providers and the shawl ministry and the coordinators who volunteered their service. We are so grateful to you. I'm sorry to share with you the news of 2 deaths in our congregation. Eleanor, Ellie Wickman died peacefully in her sleep at home on Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. She was 80 years old and a member of First Church since 1981. She was the beloved wife of Buzz Wickman for 57 years. A private memorial service with family only will be held on Friday, October 29th, 2021, at a local funeral home with Reverend Dina McFeeters officiating. Due to COVID-19 precautions and an immune-compromised family member, others are welcome to watch the virtual service online. You can find the link in Eleanor's in memoriam email that we sent to you this week. A celebration honoring Ellie's life is anticipated for the summer of 2022 in Milwaukee. Cheryl Lee Butterfield died early in the morning, Friday, October 22nd, 2021, at St. Luke's Hospital. Cheryl traveled a long journey with a rare and slow-growing cancer of the blood vessels since she was diagnosed with it in 2012. Cheryl was 76 years old and was a member of First Church for 20 years. Plans for an online memorial service are forthcoming. It is our tradition in this congregation to light our candle of life for a birth, adoption, or death among our members. Today, we light our candle of life in honor of Eleanor, Ellie, Wickman, and Cheryl Butterfield. I'd like to invite you to enter a time of meditation with me, which will be followed by silence, followed by the song Spirit of Life. So just take a moment and center yourself. Try to get comfortable in your body, whatever that means to you. And maybe it means taking a deep breath and letting that bring you into being here and now. Maybe it means feeling the ground beneath you, holding you up, steady, earthy. Or maybe it means reaching up with the top of your head and feeling the air above you, connecting you to all that is. Whatever it is, do it now. Center. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. Join with us. Connect us with one another. Help us feel the invisible strands connecting heart to heart and spirit to spirit. May this interconnected web hold us when we grieve, when we struggle, when we celebrate. May we feel ourselves enmeshed in a larger web of love that holds us all, a larger love that holds all that is. May we rest in this love. May it be so, and amen.
Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. My name is Patrick Mulvey and I'm honored to be your worship associate for the day. Teaching is the best job. It's a hard job, but it's the best job. One of the hardest parts of teaching is classroom management. What I found works for me is forging strong and loving relationships with each of my students and talking explicitly about the kinds of relationships and community we want to share. Enter Keith. Smart kid, lots of personality and baggage. Keith didn't know how to get attention in ways that others appreciated. He got that attention in other ways, pushing buttons, making jokes that fell flat, and sometimes being downright passive-aggressive. He was off-putting, and he made himself a target. He was hard to like. Keith was especially challenging for me. He had a way of getting under my skin. The hardest thing for me was that he would pretend to have seizures. You could tell he was faking because he could snap right out of it if somebody told a joke or something. He'd laugh and he'd give you the, "oh, you got me" grin. Keith didn't know it, but I had recently lost a nephew to a severe seizure that took his life. Of all the things Keith did, this was the toughest for me, but I soldiered on. I tried to fake it till I made it. And I looked for ways to praise him when he did right or when he treated people well. I worked at it, but it wasn't easy. Now, Keiths are the kind of parent-teacher conferences that can make a teacher nervous. Bringing these kinds of concerns to a parent in a constructive way while masking any negative feelings, it can be tricky. So it was Keith's mom's turn. I planned to start with the mundane business of the conference, and I was dreading the difficult part. She interrupted. "I just want you to know, you're the first teacher Keith has ever had that really likes him for who he is, and I can't tell you how much that means to him and to me." I'll never know whether she saw me skip a beat. I hope she didn't. I panicked for a second. I knew it wasn't true that I didn't enjoy Keith, but I needed her and Keith to keep believing that I did. So I said, "Of course, he's an awesome guy and I love having him here. He's smart, he's funny, and he's Keith." The rest of the conference went fine. We talked about his grades and his work. I was even able to talk about helping him learn to get along better with others. After that, working with Keith got easier. I found it less difficult to move past things he did that bothered me, and I found more chances to praise him for being the get-along king. I spent less time faking it and more time making it in my determination to love each and every one of my students, including Keith, especially Keith. And he really did do better. Not perfect, not overnight, but better. I think he felt good about himself, and I hope he earned some goodwill with his classmates too. His year got better, and I hope that carried on to his life after he left my classroom. It helped me too, this success with Keith. I learned that love is a verb, and sometimes it's a tiring verb. It's something we have to do, that we have to work at, not just something we feel. And that's okay. I felt better about myself as a teacher and about my belief that building loving relationships with kids is the right way to go. I think I felt less guilty about needing to fake it until I made it. Decades later, I've come to realize that I saw a lot of my young self in Keith. Like him, I hadn't known how to fit in with other kids, and like him, the attention I got was often negative. It was hard for me, and I can imagine it had been hard for Keith too. Sometimes what we see and dislike in other people is really just things we're not proud of about ourselves. And maybe that was part of what made it hard for me to like Keith back then. And maybe finding a way to love Keith helped me forgive my young self for not knowing any better at the time. As much as it meant to Keith and his mom to believe that I liked him, I think I got more than I gave. I learned to love Keith for who he was, and I'm proud of that. But the gifts that he gave me as a teacher and as another person just trying to find a way to live, like I said, teaching is the best job. It's a hard job, but it's the best job.
I see you, I hear you, I feel you. And though I can't claim to understand, I can stand still and reach out my hand and try to feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I see you. I feel the tears flow from the same source as my own. What a mystery. And though I can't claim to understand, I am listening. I can stand still and reach out my hand to the words of your sorrow. I see you, I see you, I hear you, I hear you, I feel you.
In his book, The Four Things That Matter Most, Dr. Ira Byock makes a powerful case that the four most important things in life are the following phrases. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. And I love you. Dr. Byock spent 15 years as a physician in emergency departments and 25 years as a hospice care doctor before writing this book. In his experience with very sick and dying people, these four statements are the most important for the person's release and for their loved one's sense of resolution. On their deathbeds, Dr. Byock says, people do not worry about the success of work projects or think about how much money they made. They consider the relationships in their lives. Seriously ill and dying people need resolution in relationships, whether that's expressing forgiveness, gratitude, or love. Their loved ones need this too. And the expression or lack of those things reverberates through their lives after their loved one has gone. Dr. Byock tells a story from his time working in the emergency department when a 78-year-old woman named Edwina Hargis was rushed in with a leaking abdominal aneurysm. This kind of aneurysm is fatal when it ruptures, and a leaking one requires immediate, major surgery to prevent a full rupture. As Dr. Byock explained the circumstances to Mrs. Hargis, however, she responded with a sense of calm. She told Dr. Byock that she had a number of serious health conditions which made it highly questionable whether she would survive such a surgery. Edwina Hargis said, I knew this day was coming. I don't want to have the surgery. I'm prepared. Please call my children. Edwina Hargis's children arrived and were not surprised to learn their mother had refused surgery. She had told them of her wishes in circumstances like this 2 years prior, so they were also ready. The hospital staff prepared a private room for Edwina and her children and worked to make her comfortable. Dr. Byock took a moment with Edwina's daughter, June, to make sure she understood her mother was going to die that day. It might happen slowly or suddenly. The family might have a few minutes together or a few hours. He advised June that while it might seem like stating the obvious, this was the time to say what needed to be said. He shared his experience that the 4 most important things to say were, "I'm sorry," "I forgive you," "Thank you," and "I love you." Attending carefully to their relationship in this way, he advised, often helped families feel more at peace in saying goodbye and experience more healing in their grieving process and closure in their lives moving forward. June's mother, Edwina, had grown up in a ranching family with 3 brothers, and she wasn't an outwardly affectionate woman. "She loves us," June said, "and I think she knows we love her, but I love you wasn't something we said a lot when we were growing up. But there's no time like the present." June then turned to her mom and said, "I love you, Mom," and threw her arms around her. Edwina Hargis died a few hours later. When her daughter was leaving the hospital, she found Dr. Byock to thank him for his care. She told him that carefully attending to their relationship in those final hours made all the difference. "Mom told each of us children that she was proud of us," June said. "That's something we had never heard her say. And I told her I loved her, and I would never forget her." Because of their attention to the most powerful needs of relationship, June was able to carry the sure knowledge of her mother's love and pride in her for the rest of her life. The relationships in our lives affect us forever, whether they are broken, salvific, or absent. They are what matters most. Our most important relationships live inside of us throughout our lives. It doesn't matter if the person has died, or we have left, or we live with them every day or see them once a year. The resolved and unresolved aspects of our relationships operate within us, not just through our memories, but also through how our experiences of them shade our perspectives of the world. It is worth attending to relationships, giving them the time and energy it takes to nurture or heal or release. Relationship is core to Unitarian Universalist theology. While we don't have a creed, we do believe that the sacred is alive here and now. We believe the holy exists in this world, within and among us. For Unitarian Universalists, the world is our sacred text. And as a people who focus on justice and love, we might even say relationship is our sacred text. Indeed, in process theology, the smallest unit of reality is not a solo entity, but the relationship between 2 entities. Relationships constitute the world. In church, we practice our theology by practicing relationship. We are in relationship with an entire community of people that we do not get to choose and have to learn to live with. Obviously, we get to choose our church, and usually we pick one whose theology makes sense to us and aligns with our own personal values. But after that, we get a church full of people just peopling about all over the place. There's beauty in it. People have met their spouses in our church, developed their circles of closest friends, found chosen grandparents, aunts and uncles, chosen family. But church is also full of people we do not choose. Buddhism teaches that people you struggle with are learning gifts because they show you yourself, as Patrick's story this morning so beautifully illustrates. It is a gift to be in community with people who show us ourselves, even if it doesn't always feel like it. In both challenge and ease, we get to practice relationship intentionally. We learn and grow through challenge, and we rest and renew through ease. We attend to relationship by saying the 4 things that matter most. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. And I love you. These are not easy things to say, and it helps to have a community of practice. First, I'm sorry and I forgive you. Church has tools and guardrails for engaging faithfully in conflict and apology. There are simple forms like religious education and small group ministries' use of saying ouch and for something that hurts and oops as a response. This short form of noticing harm and apologizing for it, ouch, oops, is good for small things. For bigger, more complex things, we have tools like covenant and conflict resolution. Our congregation as a whole, our staff team, our board of trustees, and many of our small groups have a covenant, a shared agreement negotiated together, stating how we intend to be with one another and how we will return when we inevitably stray from that agreement. As human beings, we do inevitably fall short of our best intentions in relationship. Covenant is a form that helps us identify and articulate our best intentions together, do our best to live into them, and then practice returning to them when we slip up. Second, thank you. There are so many ways we practice saying thank you in church. In our staff meetings, for instance, we include an appreciation in our meeting check-ins. Although this was a little awkward when we began it first 4 years ago, now gratitudes just roll off the tongue so easily every week when we check in, and each staff member thanks someone else for something they appreciated that week. Finally, and most beautifully, we get to practice saying, I love you in church. This isn't always easy for people raised in cultures of stoicism, so practice helps. People say I love you in so many ways here through their actions, through their generosity, through their service, through opening the door with a smile, through showing up for our children, through planning our budgets, through nourishing our spirits with pastoral care, through leading the deep soul work of small group ministry. But people also literally say the words, I love you, which is so important. And I encourage you to try to practice it as often as you can. You might think that folks already know it, but as June and Edwina Hargis showed us, it helps to state the obvious. Practicing theology in church means not just knowing how sacred relationships are and attending to them, but prioritizing them above other business. Society teaches us urgency about work and getting things done, but even though we might feel that pressure in church, we keep practicing our theology that prioritizes relationships first. The agenda of the meeting will not matter in 3 years, nor will the specifics of the religious education lesson. What will matter is how we were with one another, how we cared for each other, how we made each other feel. This doesn't mean we can't or shouldn't get things done, and it doesn't even mean we won't disagree while we're doing it. Instead, it means we will take the time to attend to relationship in the process of getting things done, attend to our own hearts and each other in disagreements, attend to relationship while we make decisions. When I officiate memorial services, I always ask the family a question that I learned from my teacher, the Reverend Rob Eller Isaacs. I ask them what they most admired about the person who died that they want to embody going forward in their own lives. The qualities always come so quickly. She was kind, they say, or he was funny, or they were an artist. Families tell me about how their lost loved one made them laugh, or showed them beauty, or always made them feel welcome and included. Then I ask, tell me about a time when your beloved embodied that trait. When was she kind? When was he funny? When did they show you beauty? And then the answers tend to come more slowly as people struggle to remember a specific instance. Part of this is just grief. Grief makes the brain foggy and details can get shrouded in sorrow. But another part of it is something I see regularly when people try to come up with a specific story about something. It's harder to do than remembering how someone made you feel. When people are dying and when they have gone, it is the quality of the relationship that sticks around. A lot of specifics are lost, and it doesn't really matter if the dishes got done or the accounts got balanced. It doesn't matter what that painting was or the details of the joke. It matters how it felt between you in the process of living. So, yes, live. Do the dishes, balance the accounts, paint that painting, get the kids to school, set the agenda, and do the business of the world. But know that it is how you do it that people will remember. It is the relationships among you in the process of living that they will hold on to. It is saying what needs to be said between you that will carry forward. Attend to your relationships. Take the time and the risk to say, I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. And I love you. There's no time like the present, and nothing matters more in the world. Amen. Thank you all so much for your generosity. Pledges are the core of our congregation's spiritual practice of generosity. We're also grateful for additional gifts to support our ministry and thank the folks out there who are appreciating this online ministry and who are supporting it by either texting 73256 with the message give numeral 2UU or who are giving on our website at bit.ly/UUways2give. Your gifts help us continue to provide this ministry. We also share the plate with an organization each month. In October, our Share the Plate partner is the United Nations Association of Greater Milwaukee, which is dedicated to educating, inspiring, and mobilizing citizens of southeastern Wisconsin to support the vital work of the United Nations through advocacy, education, programs, and fundraising. You can give to our Share the Plate partner through that same webpage at bit.ly/UU ways to give. You can see all these options to donate on your screen now, and they'll live on in the YouTube comment section of this video after worship is over. So thank you so much for giving either right now or when you make a point to come back later to support the ministry. Your support keeps us and our community partners going. Thank you. Our closing words today are the poem Relationship is a Bell by the Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom. Relationship is a bell that tolls for our lives, singing out resonance collected over time, joy, grief, anger, love. It rings imperfect reflection, watery vibrations rippling out, sometimes cracked, sometimes unsteady, sometimes a clarion call of completion, always alive, moving, singing who we are, where we've been, ringing, who we might become. Dear ones, may you ring the bells that still can ring today and say the words you need to say. Thank you for being in community with me. I love you. Amen.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Whoa, yeah, yeah. 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 Whoa, yeah, yeah.